Alright, I'm not sure when that kicked off on the battery, but here's the LED scrunched up, pair of pliers. Just looking to see if I got something else I could use. Yeah, we'll use these. And gently grab the light, the LED. Heat that side, pull. Heat that side, pull. Just go back and forth a couple of times. And it's off. Again, I can see which part is the positive. That one's not in very good shape. Ripped the contact off of it, so squeeze, break, need another set of 3. First time I did this, I got them all off without a problem. I guess I need a better technique here. One for 3 isn't very good. So let's see, what else could I do to make that easier? What if I just do this? Gently grab it. Melt the solder. Well, that's melted mylar as well, but okay, well I got it off a lot easier, but I still have problems with that. Here's the piece of fluff. These guys are now solidly put in. And with those solidly put in, we can take this build, well, let's take this building first. Now this one's tough. I tried doing this before and wasn't all that successful, so doesn't seem to want to go through its hole here. Let me get my drill out and make sure it can. Whoop, wrong one, this one. Okay, now that we kind of got the angle. Let's see if we can get it through easily enough. Yep, goes through nice. Okay. So that just sits on there. If I go underneath, I can pull a little bit to make sure it's seated. This one fits even better. Put it through. It's just an easy drop. And it fits. So, you know, I think I need a magnet. This guy's really steady, no problem there. That goes along nice. That one doesn't seat quite as well. I might put a magnet in there, we'll see. And then underneath, you can see where the wires come through. One comes through there and one comes through there. I'll mount the panel somewhere here later once I turn this whole thing around. Now I've got those so they're kind of removable, and what I don't know yet is I don't know if I'll glue them in place or not. Need to do a bit more figuring out. Alright, I thought I'd show you the final method I settled on in order to separate the LEDs. What I do is, first off, this is sticky back, so I remove the paper off the back, thusly, and I stick this down on a little piece of 1x2 like that. I take this little pick and I jab it in the middle down and leverage up, and take my soldering iron in on the positive side, hold it there, gentle pressure, push down, you can see the positive separated, do the same on the negative side, and off it comes. And now we can see here that there's the positive on the top and the negative. I transfer that to my board for soldering, which is this guy here. So we'll just plunk them down like this, press it in place, and now there's another one on there. Put that to the side, bring this back in. Okay, get the pick in there, right in the middle, some leverage, and keep it relatively easy on the leverage so that nothing breaks. Get it up, wait a second, well wait a minute, yeah, a few seconds. And let's go with the negative. Okay, negative's now up. Positive isn't all the way up though. So let's get back in here with the positive. There we go. Positive's all up. And we got another one off that looks good. So we'll stick it on here. Side again, go to the last one. I dug too deep last time. You want to kind of get in between there, not underneath. So let's hit with the positive again. Beat it. A little bit of leverage, push down, let it solidify, come in on the negative. There it is, scoots off. Don't need this anymore. The last one went right here. Flip it over, looks good. put it on my upside down masking tape. Now let's test these. I have this that I used some time ago for testing LEDs, and it's just battery powered, so I'll turn it on. Use these probes. And, stick them out a little. Yep, just a gentle blue. This is only 1.5 volts, so it's not going to make them very bright. Recheck these ones that were checked before. Fine. Fine. So they all work. So that's good. Now the next thing is you may be able to see these have a little bit more solder on. So I like to solder blob them. So we'll go ahead here and do that. It's just getting a little blob of solder on there. It's going to make it easier when I go to solder later. That's all we need to do. Now we're ready to put hookup wires on. It's also why I leave it on here, because it's easier for the hookup wires. Now for these, I've used both magnet wire, solid copper insulated, 30 gauge, and I've used this, which is 28 gauge, twisted red and black, and this is solid copper again. This is far easier to strip. The big difference is you can see the thickness difference here. So if thickness makes a difference, you need to go to the magnet wire. But if you're not concerned about the thickness and you can go a little bit thicker, this is much easier to work with, which is what I'm going to try and do. I'm going over to the layout to measure a length of wire, because I know where a building's going to go and about where the spot for the light goes. I'm just tending to a little. Now these are going to go into houses that I've decided to put 2 LEDs in. This is one of the buildings, and you can see it's got a nice front on it. I'll put the 2 LEDs and put them in there. But I need to figure out how far apart to space them. So I'm thinking I'll do them, part ways along there. So I want them about that far apart. Now I go here and say, okay, one goes there, and the other one goes there, because that's about as far as I can reach. What I then need to do is go into here and untwist these. I'll double check. Yep, looks good. Untwist these. From there to there. Straighten them out. You can see they go from there to there. I'm going to mark. Just going to mark it with my soldering iron, which is a little tough to do when the soldering iron is off. So all I'm going to do is come in here with a soldering iron, just make a little mark, and come over to here. And I want to bare just a little bit of copper wire like this. And I want to do the same on the black side, so straighten it out. About here. just kind of like drawing on it. And of course I need the very ends done. Use a cloth and clean off the soldering iron. Okay, now let's double check, make sure those look good. Yep. Now the next step is to grab my solder. And it's to tin. So I get some solder on my soldering iron. Tin that area. Now this, I do heat the wire up good here. I want to make sure this solder is sticking to the wire. Do the same thing on the end. Not a lot of solder sticks, not a lot has to. Just enough to get a bit of a tin there. Clean the soldering iron. Now it helps if you have something like tweezers like this. You can hold hand or your finger or whatever. What you're trying to do is being able to apply a bit of pressure here. And you melt. Pop, pop, pop. Now bring in the negative. I'm going to use a pair of pliers so I don't burn my fingers as much this time. Don't like where that ended up, so we'll stick it back down. Now this is the finicky part. Let's try the other hand here. There we go. Now there's a little solder blob there I want to get rid of. We'll just brush it aside there. Okay. Now that looks good. Now let's try the tweezer method. And solder the positive one. And then we're going to try soldering the negative on as well. Now I've got a little bit of solder off the side here, so we're just going to trim that solder off. Now let's see how well that works. Need to go from the other end here to test. So let's bare some wire here. Traditional way. And let's hook up our tester here. Positive. Nice red color there to let me know. Negative with a black one. Make sure they don't touch. Bring this in so you can see it. Switch on. And one light's good and one light isn't. Well, it might be short in there. Might be a short, so we'll put it into the file. Just make sure there isn't a short in between. Now, if I overheated it, I may have killed the LED. Okay, well, there's no short there now. No, I've killed the LED. So what that means is I have to desolder it and use one of these other ones. So this is the usual three-handed operation. You need to hold it down with this pull-up. Okay, there we go. Throw that in bridge. Sure these guys are well separated. A little bit of solder to clip off. This one I can see I have too much solder on it, so let's get it off a bit. Okay, that's the minus soldered on. If you're fast enough, you can use your fingers, but hot, 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 hot. Okay. See if that's any better. There we go. So both LEDs are now working fine. That's why I test every step of the way.